the news. If Angel Reese was going into the WNBA and Caitlin Clark, no one would care. She'd be like, oh, okay, that woman's really good on the offensive boards. I mean, that's really what she is.
Did you see what just happened? Dan Patrick just shut down Angel Reese's claim that she's the reason people are watching the WNBA. He didn't hold back, exposing how she's been living in her own fantasy. You might think Angel Reese deserves some credit for the league's popularity, but Patrick proves why that's not the case. He shows clear evidence that without Caitlin Clark, most people wouldn't even know who Angel Reese is. Stay tuned for the full breakdown that has basketball Twitter going wild.
I think so many people are watching women's basketball right now. It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, just because of one single.
Did you hear what Angel Reese said last year? During a media session, she made a wild claim that had everyone talking. She actually said, "The reason why we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too." Can you believe that? She directly challenged the idea that Caitlin Clark is the main reason for the surge in interest in women's basketball.
And just looking at that, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
This statement is so out of touch with reality, it's almost hard to believe. The WNBA saw record-breaking viewership last season, and guess what? It just so happened to line up perfectly with Caitlin Clark's arrival. What a coincidence, right? Ticket prices skyrocketed, games were selling out everywhere, and social media was buzzing with WNBA content, none of which was happening at this level before Clark joined the league. But somehow, Angel Reese really thought she deserved equal credit for this surge in popularity.
If she would have left it with what she had to say right before the last couple of words, I would have been fine with it. She's embraced the villain. She understands social media. She's done quite well. She is cashed in, literally cashed in.
This isn't just a random comment, it's part of a pattern. Angel Reese has repeatedly tried to position herself as a co-star in the WNBA's rise, despite the evidence saying otherwise. And the timing? It couldn't be more obvious. She makes these claims just as the league is experiencing unprecedented attention that clearly follows Caitlin Clark wherever she goes.
WNBA has been around a couple of decades, and people didn't notice the game. They're noticing it now. Well, that's because of Caitlin Clark, not Angel Reese.
Dan Patrick wasn't having any of it. He pointed out something really telling about Reese's behavior after winning the national title. Instead of celebrating with her teammates, her first instinct was to mock Clark. That says everything about where her focus really is. Patrick also noted that while both players have big social media followings, it's Clark's unique playing style and charisma that are actually bringing in the major endorsements and skyrocketing viewership.
Her attention, her notoriety is based off Caitlin Clark. Because she wins the national title, first thing she does, she mocks Caitlin Clark. And then she doesn't even celebrate with her teammates. So she's made it personal with Caitlin Clark.
You know what Patrick said that really put everything into perspective? He compared what Caitlin Clark is doing for the WNBA to what Tiger Woods did for golf and what Lionel Messi did for Major League Soccer. That's not just some casual comparison, that's putting her in the same category as legends who completely transformed their sports.
People watched golf because of Tiger, right? You tuned in. No matter what event Tiger was playing, you were going to watch. They're still trying to capitalize on him. Playing in the U.S. Open. NBC and Peacock, their graphic has Scottie Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, and then who's looming larger on the screen but Tiger?
Think about it. Before Tiger Woods, how many casual fans were tuning into golf every weekend? Not many. Then Tiger came along, and suddenly, everyone was watching, even people who had never picked up a club in their lives. The same thing happened when Messi joined Inter Miami. People who couldn't name a single MLS team before were suddenly buying tickets and merchandise.
Can out of Tiger. When Gretzky got to the LA Kings, Messi goes to the MLS. Maybe Connor McDavid with Edmonton. Like you're trying to there's somebody you may tune in to watch, and then maybe if you watch, then maybe you appreciate what you're seeing.
Patrick isn't just throwing these comparisons around for fun, he's making a crucial point about what's happening in the WNBA right now. The league has been around for decades without ever reaching this level of mainstream attention, so what changed in 2024? It wasn't Angel Reese's rebounding skills or social media presence. It was Caitlin Clark bringing something completely new to the table.
But the eyeballs on the WNBA really have to do with Caitlin Clark. Now, you might, if you stay long enough, maybe you'll see something or someone there you go, okay, I'm entertained by this. But there's nothing wrong with admitting that you watch a sport because of one singular person.
The really brutal part came when Patrick straight up said, "There's nothing about Angel Reese's game that's really interesting to casual viewers." That's not just a small critique, that's completely dismantling her claim about being responsible for the WNBA's surge in popularity. Patrick isn't saying Reese isn't good, he's pointing out that her style of play isn't the kind that makes new fans suddenly start watching.
Angel Reese has played a role in this, and she's a very good player. But there's nothing about her game that's really interesting that is going to translate to people who may not watch the WNBA, may not care about basketball. She is a social media star, and she has capitalized on that. And maybe she embraces being the villain.
Patrick's analysis makes one thing clear: there's a huge difference between being good at basketball and being a once-in-a-generation talent who transforms how people see the sport. Clark falls into that rare second category, while Reese clearly doesn't. Patrick points out that Reese has definitely capitalized on positioning herself against Clark and embracing the villain role. But make no mistake, Caitlin Clark is the reason why everyone has an opinion on what happened in that game.
But make no mistake about it, Caitlin Clark is the reason why everybody has an opinion on what happened in that game. It's Caitlin Clark. Now, do I think it was assault, as the Chicago Tribune said? No, it was not. It was a hard foul. It's wrong. You don't need it in the game.
It's a complete reality check about who's really driving this dynamic. Reese seems to believe she and Clark are equal partners in building this new era of women's basketball, but Patrick's breakdown exposes the uncomfortable truth: Reese is benefiting from Clark's stardom, not contributing equally to it. Without Clark in the picture, would casual sports fans even know who Angel Reese is?
And I don't like the other narrative, like you have the gatekeepers now, like, hey, we've been playing basketball a long time, where were you? No. We're watching because of Caitlin Clark. I didn't watch the MLS. Messi started playing. I watched the MLS. People watching Tiger. They didn't play golf, but there was Tiger. There was something about it.
That question, would anyone know Angel Reese without Caitlin Clark? Patrick didn't just ask it, he answered it. He dug deeper, exposing the real emotional drive behind Reese's actions. This isn't just about two competitive players battling on the court. Patrick straight up said what many have been thinking but few have dared to say out loud: Angel Reese is jealous of Caitlin Clark.
In race, do I think everybody's jealous of Caitlin Clark? I don't. But I do think they are out to prove a point. You're not coming in and dominating our game because we are grown women and we are going to be physical with you. Now, dirty, then I have a problem with that. But you're playing tough. It's competition.
And before you dismiss that as just a hot take, look at the evidence Patrick laid out. Remember that shocking moment when Clark got knocked down during a game? Most players would either help her up or just move on. Basic sportsmanship, right? Not Reese. She literally stood up and started applauding. Who does that? That's not just competitive fire, that's something personal.
Played off of that. Even Caitlin Clark getting knocked down in that game on Saturday, who's standing up applauding but Angel Reese? So she's sort of embraced a Draymond Green role here.
Patrick didn't pull any punches in his analysis. He compared Reese to NBA players known for their antagonistic styles, saying she's tried to position herself like Draymond Green by embracing the villain role. But Patrick made an important distinction: she's actually more like Dylan Brooks. That's a big difference. It suggests she's not just playing tough, she's deliberately going out of her way to provoke and instigate conflicts with Clark specifically.
Angel Reese wants to be Draymond Green. She's more Dylan Brooks. Like, she's trying to be an instigator. She goes out of her way to criticize Caitlin Clark. So if you factor all of this in, that's when people have opinions that aren't basketball related.
What makes this whole situation even more fascinating is how Patrick broke down Reese's business strategy. She's not just acting this way out of a personal vendetta, she's turned antagonizing Clark into a legitimate career move. By positioning herself as the anti-Clark, she's secured endorsements and built a massive social media following. It's calculated. It's deliberate. And financially, it's working.